this part of the workshop. My name's Sandi Middleton and I'm here to talk to you about sustainable food and how you can minimise waste by buying sustainably. So that looks like local, seasonal, just having a bit of an idea of where your food's coming from and how you can make an impact in reducing your waste through choosing the right foods. So just a bit of background about me. I grew up on a farm, so I had a very visual knowledge of how food grows and the process and the waste involved in that, and formed a really deep love and connection to land and how it's produced, food, how it's produced, and the connection to the land through that process of growing up on a farm. And that's kind of informed my career in many ways, actually. I have had quite a varied green career, working in government, corporate, and now working for a not-for-profit around sustainability leadership, while also running my consultancy around sustainable food. So it's been a thread through my life and through a research project that I did at the Centre for Sustainability Leadership, really looking at what does it mean. Like, this word sustainable is very broad, you hear it around a lot, but what does it actually mean? And for me, that looks like local, seasonal and chemical free. They're the kind of three broad definitions that I researched and found as sustainable food. So we'll be touching on two of those today, just briefly, to give you an idea of what that is. I also wanted to acknowledge a colleague, JP Williamson, who's helped me to design the workshop. He can't be here today, but just to acknowledge his input into it as well. So, before we start, I just wanted to quickly get a bit of a brainstorm of what you guys think sustainable food is. What springs to mind when you hear that word? Think about what that could possibly mean. And I'll just jot them down. So just yell out any words that come to mind.
Pesticide free?
Pesticide free, yep. Anything else?
Should seasonal be?
Seasonal, yeah, definitely. Yep.
Locally?
Seasonal, local. What else?
Perhaps it can be made over and over, like you won't exhaust it.
Okay, so like reused or
you hear about how we overfish or we I guess that's about management.
Yeah, so that it can be sustainably consumed. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Sure. Anything else?
Food produced in a sustainable, in a way that doesn't impact on the environment adversely.
Yeah, the environmental. Impact is positive. Yeah. Great. Anything else?
It's natural, it's not genetically modified.
Yep, sure. So not GE. Or GM.
Smaller portions of meat, rather go more towards the vegetable.
So reduced meat. Great. Okay. Fantastic, that's a great list. So I just wanted to step you through the kind of food cycle, just to zoom out a bit and look at the whole system of food production. So there's three main parts to the process. There's the production, there's how the food's grown, where it's grown, what it's grown with. And then there's the distribution, so how it's transported from the farm to the supermarket, to the farmer's market, to wherever it is that you go and buy it from. And then the third phase is the actual consumption phase. So just with a focus on waste, with these three areas, just wanted to have a look at what impacts you see food having in the production, the distribution, and the consumption, and where the waste occurs in this cycle. I mean, you've touched on that a bit today with, for instance, up this end, food going rotten in the fridge. What else have you learnt about through Edwina's cooking today? So maybe not freezing it, so wasting it that way. Any other things you've learnt from that?
Overconsumption
So eating too much? Eating too much.
isn't unsustainable.
Yep, okay, cool, yeah, eating too much. Sure. Anything else around that consumption? Some of the key learnings from today? Well, how about we move to the distribution? So in the transport, whether that's car, truck, flights, ships, where do you think some of the waste and environmental impacts could occur in that part of the cycle? Sorry?
Local. I mean, yeah, local.
Local, yeah. So the impact is that it has to travel, the distance travelled. Sure. Has everyone heard of the concept of food miles?
Yes.
Food miles? No? So food miles are the kind of average kilometre that a food will travel from paddock to plate. So that's the kind of terminology, and there's been a lot of research done around that recently, and we'll go into more detail later, but it's just looking at, where does your food come from and what's the distance it actually travels before it gets to you. Anything else in that distribution cycle there? Yeah.
Energy used for refrigeration.
Yes, refrigeration. That's a great one. Sorry, there was a hand at the back.
Fuel and like that sort of thing.
Yep.
gases and-
Fuel, gas, oil. Yep, definitely.
Also with the length of time that is actually at the distribution area.
Right. So in terms of the waste, like there maybe more waste if it's stored for longer. Yeah. Waste through storage.
Probably somehow you might have the uneven distribution of food because like maybe some places you can access quite a lot of food, but some places you probably can't. Also like maybe the problem of distance.
The distance. Yeah. And so a bit of inequity in terms of sure. Yeah, great. Okay. And what about the production side of things?
About overproduction.
Overproduction, so we're making too much. Yeah. Where else are the impacts in that part of the cycle?
Packaging.
Packaging, yep. That's a good one. And that can also occur in each of these actually. How its packages can be affected through that, yep. What else is there?
Processing of it.
The processing? Yep.
And what about the use of human labour in the process of production that it's not exploitative?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
if it's exploitative, then it's not sustainable
Yep.
for human life.
Yeah, definitely. So the social practices around that.
Sometimes maybe the commercialization of it, like where you tend to like things look very pretty, but maybe they're still edible, but because not pretty on the shelf in the supermarket, we tend to throw it. And so we're very picky what pleasing to our eyes.
Sure, yep. So the kind of what food has to look like, so apples can't be blemished, etc. Yeah.
Cucumber have to be straight and something like that.
Sure, yeah. So that would be production. So maybe the selection processes. Yeah, great. Okay. The storage in that part too, yep. In terms of the refrigeration or
How well it's stored.
okay, just actually
That would affect
yeah,
how long
sure.
it has.
Yep. How well it is stored. Yeah, great. Excellent. Yeah, and food, it's amazing the impact that food has. Another reason that I think it's such an empowering area for us to actually take action in terms of reducing the impact on the environment, reducing the social impact on societies, is that it actually accounts for a third of our greenhouse gas emissions. So a third of the emissions that as a country we produce is through our food, is through that production, the distribution and the consumption. So we, at a very basic day-to-day level, can make a really big impact with what we choose to eat. It's really as simple as that. Also the water, so we haven't touched on water here, but water is 46% of the water we use is embodied in our food. So it doesn't, like, when you think about it, you think, oh yeah, you know, showers or drinking, but actually the bulk of the water that we actually consume is through food. So so again, there's that opportunity for us to reduce that water by using foods that are local, that are seasonal, that are not taking as much water out of the earth as others are doing.